A very good morning, dear students and the viewers. My name is Dr. Kusum Rawat. I am assistant professor in this Department of Electronics, Deen Upadhyay, Gorakhpur University. I welcome you all on the lecture series Linear Integrated Circuits. The Linear Integrated Circuit paper is a part of BSc third year electronics course, and in this lecture I'll introduce you all to an operational amplifier. An op-amp is a very common linear IC that will be used in our laboratories, and we perform some experiments on the 741 IC, which is op-amp IC, and using this IC we used to design some amplifiers, differentiators, integrators, oscillators, as well as filters using this op-amp. So it is a very multi-purpose IC. So I'll introduce you to all the operation of op-amp, how op-amp works, how op-amp works, and its internal circuit diagrams we'll discuss in detail. We'll also look into some derived parameter like the voltage gain and the internal resistance and output resistance of this amplifier. So let's begin with the slides. These are the textbooks which I will refer. That is the op-amp and linear IC circuits, edition number 4 by Ramakant A. Gaikwad. You can also use, if edition number 4 is not available and you have a edition number 3 or 5, you can use it. Then there is Semiconductor Devices, Physics and Simulation. This is the second book which I would like to refer you. That is by the J.S. Yuan and J.J. Liao. Third is the Semiconductor Physics and Devices, and this is written by Donald Niemann. This is also very helpful for understanding some devices and device physics. Now let's begin with the introduction. An operational amplifier is commonly known as op-amp. It is a direct couple high gain amplifier. Like in your previous year, you have studied some cascaded transistor based amplifiers. Similar to that, it is an direct couple high gain amplifier. That means it is a multi-stage amplifier, and this amplifier possesses a very high gain. So we call it as an operational amplifier. But as the name suggests, operational amplifier, so it can this operational amplifier also perform some operations on the input signals. Like these operations include some mathematical operations, kind of like addition and subtraction of the input signals, and the integration of the input signals, and the output and the differentiation of the input signals. So these are some certain operations that an op-amp can perform on the input signals. It is a very versatile low-cost IC, and this can be used to amplify DC as well as AC input signal. Right. So this IC can be used in the DC and AC input signals. The op-amp not only amplify a signal but can also do some mathematical operation. Like I earlier said, it can also perform some addition, subtraction, integration, differentiation. This IC can also be used for various applications. Like this IC has been used for making the filters, oscillators, comparator, and even as a voltage regulator circuits. So in addition to that, this operational amplifier has a very high gain and higher input resistance, and it is more immune to the noise. That means this is the very important factor, the immunity regarding immunity towards the noise, because it is very immune to the noise, so it only amplifies the signal. Let's see the block diagram of op-amp. This is the block diagram representation. An op-amp, as we know that it is a multi-stage amplifier. So at every stage it consists of amplifiers of different stages. So at the input stage it has a dual input. It has 4 stages: input stage, intermediate, level shifting stage, and output stage. These are the 4 stages, and it has 2 inputs and 1 output. The 2 inputs are non-inverting input and inverting input. That means the both inputs, they are 180-degree phase shift to each other. In the input stage, it has dual input balanced output differential amplifier. In this second stage, which we call intermediate, consists of dual input and balanced output differential amplifier. In the third stage, it has a meter follower using constant current sources, and the third stage it has complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier. Now these 4 stages provides a voltage gain. First stage provides the voltage gain and establish high input resistance of the op-amp. The voltage gain mainly established by this stage, and as well the high input resistance. The second stage provides the another differential amplifier driven by the output of previous stage amplifier. So this stage also contributes into the voltage gain, but due to its unbalanced output of the differential amplifier, the DC level of the signal, of the output signal, gets shifted. So DC level gets corrected after the second stage. So this level is corrected by a level shifting stage. So shifted DC level corrected to a 0 volt with respect to the ground. Now at the final stage, it increases the output swings and raise current supplying capability by reducing the output resistances. So in this diagram we have seen that the 2 stages are the 2 important stages, the input stage and intermediate stage, has a differential amplifier. So this differential amplifier is the basic building block of operational amplifier. The differential amplifier, as the name implies, amplifies the difference between the 2 input signal which we are applying at the inputs, and a basic differential amplifier circuit is nothing but the identical emitter bias circuits. The emitter bias circuit, which we have studied in the previous year, that the emitter bias circuits having a common emitter configuration, and that 2 identical emitter bias circuits, they put together to form a differential amplifier of the op-amp. In the next slides we will see that how a difference amplifier made. A difference amplifier amplifies the difference between the 2 input signal Vin1, Vin2, and also referred as differential amplifier. So this is the input supply of this common emitter, and this is the second input supply of this second common emitter. The both common emitter, both these common emitter bias circuit. This is the mirror image of this previous one, and the output voltage we are collecting at the collector side, VO1, and this output voltage of the transistor Q2 we are collecting at the terminal collector 2, that is the VO2. Now to make this differential amplifier, what we will do, we will connect the plus VCC supply of the both collector side, and we will add the emitter sides here. So in this diagram we can see that the collective emitter current is the addition of the addition of the emitter current by the passing by the transistor Q1 and transistor Q2. The transistor Q2. So the output that we will obtain at the collector C1 and C2, that will be the difference of the between the output. So this is a basic unit differential amplifier, which is nothing but the building block of operational amplifier that we have seen in the previous slide. This is the building block of the op-amp. These differential amplifiers are the building block of the op-amp. So the configuration of differential amplifier is defined by using the number of inputs you are using and the way you are taking the output voltage. So if you are measuring the voltage, if you are feeding the two inputs and measuring the output at the both collector side, then you have a dual input balanced output configuration. And if you are feeding two input signals, that is the dual input, and measuring the output only at one collector with respect to the ground terminal, then it is the unbalanced output. Then single input balanced output, that means we are feeding only one signal, another one is grounded, and that is the single input balanced output, single input unbalanced output, right? I hope I may be able to convey you that the configurations of the differential amplifier. These differential amplifiers can be directly coupled. Now the beauty of this differential amplifier is that you can directly couple these amplifiers in a successive stage to form a multi-stage amplifier, and you whichever voltage gain that you are desired for. So the beauty is that it removes the lower cutoff frequency limitation that was earlier imposed by the coupling capacitor in the BJT based. So as we have seen in the presentations, the four types of configuration using differential amplifier. And differential amplifier can be used in four configuration depending on the way you are using the inputs and how you are measuring the output, right? So one of them is the dual input balanced output. In case of dual input and balanced output, you are applying the voltage at the both common emitter configurations, and you are measuring the output as well at the both common collector, both at the collector terminals, between the collector terminals, right? So I will draw its basic diagram. Let's see. I hope I may be able to draw a neat and clean diagram here. I'll try my best. This is the input voltage we are applying V into, and the internal resistance of the supply is V R into. This is the common emitter. Similarly, here we have RC. We are putting the RC1 equal to RC2, and this is equals to RC, and RE1 RE2 is equals to RE, right? So here
we have put common the emitter side, and we have made a common emitter resistance which is nearly equal to parallel of RE1 and RE2, and we have grounded it, or its supply is nearly equals to minus VEE. Right? Now at this base side we are having internal resistance of power supply 1 and the power supply voltage Vn 1. Now we are taking the output at these two sides, V1 and V2. So this circuit is termed as dual input. We are applying two inputs and taking measuring the voltages between these terminals. So we are calling it as a dual input balanced output. Now to understand the amplification and to measure the gain of the system, to measure the input resistance of the system, output resistance of the system, we need to do some AC analysis and DC analysis as well. In case of DC analysis, we are evaluating the operating points of IC Q and common emitter Q point. We are actually measuring the quiescent points of the DC analysis for this differential amplifier. I am writing this D as a differential amplifier short form. Now the DC equivalent circuit is obtained by reducing the input signals V in 1 equals to V in 2 equals to 0. Now when for DC analysis I need to put this signal equals to 0 as well, this as equals to 0. That means I will simply grounded it. So naturally the Rn1 and Rn2, I'll put it these, I'll consider this Rn1 and Rn2 equals to Rn. Right? Why we are putting it equals to equivalent? Why we are taking the similar parameter for all the emitters, common emitters? Because we want a matching transistor. For a matching transistor, we need a similar value of this. We also need a similar value of Re1 and Re2, nearly equals to. Right? Generally, Rn is very, very small in case of ideal voltage sources and is nearly equal to 0. So both emitter bias sections, we consider that they are symmetrical and they are matched in all the respect. Right? So the current which is passing through circuit is the IC. The current which is flowing into the base terminal is IB. Similarly, we are assuming that the both current at the input terminals are similar. The current which is flowing through this resistor is twice of IE. The voltage is present at VBE. Okay. I'm measuring this IE is here and the IE is here. Right. So the total current flowing through this RE is twice of IE. Now this is the collector current passing through this resistance, and the voltage is across this. So I'll first apply a KVL. So we'll apply a KVL at the base emitter loop of transistor Q1. Right? I have this transistor. I'll apply a base emitter at the base emitter loop. So I'll get the equation, that is VEA minus RN IB minus VBE minus RE times of twice of IE equals to 0. Right? So this is the first equation that I have got by applying a KVL at the base ammeter section. Now as we already know that the base ammeter, relation between the base ammeter and the base and ammeter current, that is denoted by the beta times beta DC, and since IC is almost equivalent to IE. So using this equation here, we will get IE in terms of VE minus VBE upon twice of RE plus RN upon beta DC. So generally Rn upon beta DC, since beta DC is nearly equals to more than 100 or nearly equals to 100, so this value in Rn is very, very small. So for that reason the ratio is very, very small. So this factor, this expression can be reduced into VEE minus VBE upon twice of RE. So we'll neglect it, right? We'll neglect it. Now we need to calculate second step that we need. We have measured the IE, which is the ammeter current. Second is that we need to measure the voltage between the collector and ammeter. Then collector VC is nothing but VCC minus RCIC, as you can see at the collector ammeter section. This VCE. So this VC, the voltage represented at this part is VCC minus RCRC, and we know that VCE can be written as VC minus VE, make it collector minus ammeter voltage. So we can write it as VCC minus ICRC minus VE. Now this expression can be written as VCC ICRC minus VE, nothing but minus of VBE. So we will get VCC minus ICRC plus VBE. So this is the second equation that we have obtained from the DC analysis of dual input balanced output. Now this using this DC analysis, hence for both Q1 and Q2 transistor, we can determine the VCEQ and IEQ, right? We can calculate the both fusion point for both the transistors. Now let's come to the AC analysis. Here we will use the R parameter for AC analysis. We will use the R parameters instead of H parameter because of several advantages, like they are simpler form, straightforward and less cumbersome as compared to the H parameters. Second, using the R parameters, the performance equation which we will measure through our AC analysis, yani their voltage gain, the input resistance, the output resistance, they are easy to remember, hence they are not complex and lengthy as H parameter. So they are not complex and lengthy as H parameter. So to perform the AC analysis, we will, by performing the AC analysis, we will derive the certain performance parameter like the voltage gain, the differential voltage gain. We are representing it as a voltage gain as a and the D stands for the differential. So differential voltage gain, the input resistance and the output resistance of D. Right? We will measure these three parameters for the AC by using the AC analysis. So for the AC analysis, we need to set first the DC voltages which we have applied like VCC and VEE, we need to set it at 0, and we'll substitute a small T equivalent model for the transistor. So let's see that how I'm drawing this AC analysis circuit diagram for the differential amplifier. This is a very important part of AC analysis, that first one should know that how to draw a AC equivalent model for differential amplifier. So let's begin with this is the common emitter point where we have the both emitter section, we are at the similar point. Then between a similar point we have emitter resistance of Re, and we have grounded it, right? This is the common form which we have seen. Now between this emitter 2 and the base of 2 we have the Re parameter, which is the AC emitter resistance Re. Then we have, this is the base point, right? This is the emitter, base and collector. So there is collector. So we are representing it as R in internal resistance of 2, the second power supply, and this is the V in 2. Since it is a AC signal, so we are not eliminating it. It is present in the T equivalent circuit diagram. Then here is the current supply. Current supply is standing for the current passing from the collector side. Yeah, it is withdrawing from the second plus VCC supply. So there is the C2 point, and here we are putting another RC. This RC we have grounded it. So यहाँ पे VCC supply था तो हमने उसको ground कर दिया, minus plus. This is IC2. The current which is flowing through this RC, that is the IC2. Then the replica diagram will draw for the transistor 1 with the, so I'll represent it. This is again having a similar value of IE. The current passing through this is IE1, and here the current is passing through is IE2. The both current is flowing through this point, right? So here is the base 1, and at the collector side you have again a current terminal of IC1 value. This is the collector, first collector VC1 is the collector voltage at the terminal, and VC2 at the voltage at the collector 2 terminal. So this is RC, and we have grounded it, minus plus. This is the current passing through the transistor 1. And the base, you have again the Rn, the voltage supply, and this is the IB1. Right. Now to solve this AC analysis, we need to first withdraw the current voltage relationship, and current voltage relationship, as we all know, as we are aware, that it is determined by applying a KVL. So before applying a KVL, we need to first note the certain things. This is the equivalent circuit. This is the AC equivalent circuit of differential dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Now by applying a KVL, now we'll apply a KVL through this loop. We'll consider this the first loop, and this is the second loop. We'll apply the KVL at this first loop. As you can see in this diagram, Vin1 minus Rn1, Ib1 minus Re, IE1 minus Re times of IE1 plus IE2 equals to 0. Similarly, for the second equation, we'll put V into minus R into IB2 minus RE IE2 minus RE IE1 plus IE2. We'll put it at 0. So this is from the loop 1 and this is from the loop 2. 1 and 2. Right? Again we'll use the similar base expression. IB E1 is equals to IE1 upon beta times of AC, beta of AC. Similarly, IB2 will be replaced by IE2 upon beta AC. So by substituting these values in the previous equation and eliminating this factor, the ratio of RAN upon BC will neglect it, right? Then we'll get that two equations of representing the input voltage V1 and V2, that is the IE1 RE plus RE, IE2 RE, RE IE1 plus RE plus RE IE2, right? So this is the two equation which I have to solve, and I have to calculate the emitter value of IE1 and IE2. So for these two variables, as many of you have gone through the matrices, solving these matrices is two kind of simultaneous equation. So this simultaneous equation can be solved by using the Cramer's rule. In the Cramer's rule, as you know, that you need to first you replace this side terminals, this side values into the at this point. So in this matrices you have V1 minus V2 RE plus RE, right? And this is the value of V in 1, right? And we have first the determinant of the equation. This matrices is this RE plus RE. So after solving this, you will get IE1. You will get the expression for IE1. Similarly, you will calculate the value of IE2, right? After getting the IE1 and IE2, you will have the value equals to RE plus RE V into RE times of V in 1 upon RE plus RE का square minus of RE square. So the output voltage which you will get will be nothing but the difference. We have assumed that V2, the collector voltage at the second transistor, is more positive as compared to the collector voltage we are getting at the transistor 1. So we are assuming that VO is VC2 minus VC1. Let's say at that point we are measuring the voltage, it is higher and it is lower. So it is minus of IC2 times of RC minus RC IC1. So we are taking the RC common, and this is IC1 minus of IC2. As we all know that IC is nearly equals to the having a similar value of IB, because IB is very very small. Since IB is very very small, so we can assume that IE is nearly equal to I IC is nearly equal to IE. So we can put it as that RC is equals to IE1 minus IE2. That is the VO, right? So we can put these above calculated value of IE1 and IE2 here, and they will reduce the expression, and we will get the value of VO, that is RC upon RE, Vn1 minus Vn2. Thus the output between the terminals, the output is nothing dependent but on the difference of the input voltage, and it is multiplied by the factor of RC upon RE, and you can set the value of RC over RE. You can varies the voltage gain. This is nothing but the VO over the VID, which is the difference input voltage. So we can term it as this as a VID. So VO over VD is equals to RC upon RE. That is the, so using this we can see that we can set the voltage gain of the differential input balance up to by the RC value and AC emitter resistance. That is the collector resistance. Now for the differential input resistance, for a differential input resistance, it is determined as the AC equivalent resistance that would be measured at either input terminal with the other terminal grounded. So RI1, let's say RI1 is the input resistance, it is the input resistance seen from input signal source of Vin1, यानी फर्स्ट सोर्स से अगर आप जो इनपुट रेजिस्टेंस मेजर कर रहे हैं दैट इज दी RI1 व्हेन Vin1 इज इक्वल्स टू 0. आपने Vin1 को Vin2 को सेट करा 0 पे. सिमिलरली RI2 के लिए द इनपुट रेजिस्टेंस सीन फ्रॉम द वोल्टेज सोर्स Vin2 व्हेन Vin1 set at 0, right? So input supply voltage, so we will represent it here like Vin1 upon IB1 where Vin2 set at 0 and RI2 is equals to Vin1 upon IB2 when Vin1 set at 0. So IB is again can be replaced by IE1 upon beta AC. So I'll write it as Vin upon IE1 beta AC, right? So now we'll use the previous calculated the value of IE1, we'll substitute it here and we'll get the input resistance from the input source voltage Vin1, that is beta AC RC square plus twice of RE upon RE plus RE. Right? Now, as we know that value of RE, the emitter resistance, is much large than the AC emitter resistance. So we can reduce RE plus twice of RE nearly equal to twice of RE, and RE plus capital RE, will count it as simply capital R. So RI1 will be nothing but twice of RE upon, will get this RE factor will get cancelled out from the numerator and denominator, and we will get only twice of beta AC times of RE. Similarly, we will get values of RI2, and this is nothing but the beta AC RE, right? Now we'll measure the output resistance. As you can see in this diagram that our internal resistance is very high. Why internal resistance is high? Because it is dependent on the value of beta AC. So naturally the differential amplifier having a very high input impedance, very high input resistance. Now let's come to the output resistance. We'll measure the output resistance at either output terminal with respect to the ground. So this is the RO1 equals to RO2, and that is nothing but when we will measure the resistance at the output, that will be comes out to be equal to collector resistance, that is the RC. So this is how, like common emitter amplifier, the differential amplifier is a small signal amplifier, and it is used as a voltage amplifier, not as a current or power amplifier. Now, this similar calculation can be performed for the dual input unbalanced output amplifier, and what you will get in this expression, the difference in the, you will observe that the voltage gain which we have measured in the dual input balanced output configuration is the half of the voltage gain we have measured at dual input balanced output configuration. So that will be nothing but the twice of RC upon half of the RC upon RE. And this is the voltage gain. So you will see that the voltage gain get reduced in the dual input and balanced output, as well as the DC level or the output voltage gets shifted. So that is why we need a level shifter or translator after the dual input unbalanced output stage.